The better your app is, the less AI you need. Data is the main thing of,
It
how you
is
can
amazing.
actually change stuff. And I think the biggest difference with like an AI native law firm is one that's like innovative.
The future is in niche solutions.
There's just certain relationships that you have, and there's just certain knowledge that lawyers have, you can never replace.
We try to focus on offline AI and compliance and process flows. Right now we are building a production system for a Norwegian company, so it's exciting. We're moving everything from Excel and Microsoft to custom products.
Welcome everyone to the first episode of the second season of AI, Law and Infrastructure. That's the first one done on LinkedIn Live. In this episode, we're going to talk about the new security problem law firms are walking into with AI. Tools that don't just generate text, but they can touch files, connect to systems, and take actions on your behalf. We get into shadow AI, plugins, agent setups, and why it's just a wrapper is not a security argument. I think we're live right now. Great. Okay. And then bear with us, people. This is the first time we're doing this. Let's see.
And then how do you see like viewers and comments and stuff?
You can go to comments on the right side.
Yeah, I can see comments here, but not really the viewers.
No, we can't see anything. I just see
Oh,
private
yeah.
chat and comments is blank.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Me too.
Maybe it's better like this because then we're going to be less nervous.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, okay. So, hey, everybody that might be watching this. We actually don't know. So this is the first time we're doing this live. So bear with us. These used to be basically just informal discussions between the four of us. And at some point we started recording them. We were meeting every week and we thought, why not? So we released 5 of them as a separate season on YouTube and Spotify. And at that point, we also thought, let's just start doing those live. So that's the first one, as mentioned. And yeah, let's see how that goes. Yeah, basically everybody here is in one way or another working with law firms, legal teams, and/or legal systems. Stefan's a lawyer, Masai is an automation specialist, Frode is enterprise specialist, focusing on building secure systems. And I used to be an engineer, and now I'm advising law firms on AI adoption. And not just AI adoption, I'm trying to find the best solution for their problem, whatever that might be, whatever kind of technology that might be. Do you guys also want to do a round of intros?
Yeah, we can. I can go really quick. Like, first of all, Rok, that was really professional intro. Yeah, so I'm Masai, and I just work with small law firms and help them build out different automations and do AI stuff as well.
Masai, modest as always.
Yeah, I tried to. We have the goat here, Frode. I have to be modest because the goat Frode is here.
No, I'm good.
I'm good. Tell us about like the past couple of projects that you were not like in details, like a high level overview so people understand how deep in the trenches you are.
Well, we try to focus on offline AI and compliance and also then process flow. So you need to have your documents organized, first of all. But yeah, right now we are building a production system for a Norwegian company. So it's exciting. We're moving everything from Excel and Microsoft to custom products.
Very nice.
Maybe we should also mention Frode in his free time is figuring out how LinkedIn algorithm works. So if anybody needs any advice, reach out to Frode on that.
Yeah, we play around. Let's see.
Stefan, tell us about yourself.
That's me. Sorry, I'm pretty tired. I'm actually traveling, so I don't have a whole lot to say. But yeah, I'm a practicing lawyer. For years, I've dibbled and dabbled in AI, and I understand that we're now at this intersection of how's AI going to be useful to not only the world but the legal community, and I don't know, I'm pretty excited to talk about it today, or at least hear a lot about from our experts here, Rok and Frodo and Masai. So I don't have a whole lot. I'm here to kind of observe and put my 2 cents from here and there.
Oh, so we have basically 2 very modest people. We have me that talks a lot, and then we have Frode that basically hacks everything that's out there and prevents
the R&D, the product tester. He's gonna tear it up if it can be torn up. He's gonna find the problems.
Exactly.
And we have Stefan here to keep us safe, so we don't get sued.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much
Yeah,
on board at all times. At all
Yeah,
times.
yeah. The legal guy, in case we say something we shouldn't.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that might go sideways. Us being
Yeah.
live.
AKA guardrails. Call me Mr.
Yeah.
Guard. Yeah.
Oh, but Stefan, what landed on your desk around Moldbot, OpenClaw, Cloud Mold, whatever is it called today?
I'll be quite honest. It's so ridiculously crazy. One thing I've never tried it, and I don't plan on even touching it because I don't even know what the heck it is. It's kind of strange that a lot of people are just using it and don't know if it's even safe. That's pretty scary. Yeah, it almost seems like a hacker's dream, like everything that it can do, all the vulnerabilities, security nightmare. I feel bad for IT teams that have to deal with this right now. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, we talked about shadow AI, but this is yeah.
Well, what do you do when your AI is the shadow AI?
Yeah,
What's doing
exactly.
things
This
behind
is
you?
what shadow
It's
AI.
like double shadow, right? Like what's going on?
That's a good one. But I'm checking here the website support.cloud.com. They're saying avoid granting access to local files with sensitive information like financial documents. But that's literally contrary of the value proposition of the framework itself, right? Because if it doesn't have access to this, then how is it going to be so useful to you? Like every single point that they have in the to minimize risks section
Oh yeah.
literally goes against the value proposition of the framework.
Yeah.
Wait, which website is this?
It's
It's Claude.
support.claude.com and then using Cowork safely. I tried to write that into Google and then you'll find it.
Well, it's like we discussed before. I mean, they changed the TOS, so if anything happens, they are secure, and you're the one left with all the problems.
Yeah. And I see there's a big parallel to be drawn between Moldbot and Claude Cowork. I mean, Claude Cowork is not completely guardrail-less like Moldbot is, but to be honest, Moldbot is an open source software that is meant to be an inspirational software. It's not production ready. Usually you pull the source code and then you start building on top of it. I see enterprises that have deep pockets and a lot of resources, a lot of people that they can throw at problems. They might, have better use of these frameworks than a one-person band, because they have many resources. So those resources can start building on top of that framework and can start securing it. Then you have these agent panels, which are basically engineering way of containing and limiting actions that those agents are allowed to do. But yeah, don't use them out of the box. And then you have Cowork. And I think that Masai here has played the most with Cowork out of all of us. Can you speak a little bit on where do you see the similarities? What are the differences? Moldbot, Cowork.
I think the Pandora's box opened with Claude Code, I think. Because Cowork is the same thing as Claude Code. It's the same infrastructure, basically. It just has a UI that makes it easier to use if you're non-technical, right? But yeah, so Cowork, it gets access to the files that are locally on your system, and then it can do a bunch of stuff in there, like read the files, rename the files, organize files, that kind of stuff. But then there's obviously you have the security side of things where it's there's some risk with it having access to your files. I think the interesting thing though is the agent harness from Claude that was released, that was open sourced. I think
tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? It's like the whole idea is the reason Claude Cowork or Claude Code works is because there's this Iron Man suit around it that lets you do all this cool stuff on your computer. But usually those run with Claude in the cloud, right? With whatever Claude model in the cloud. But what happened recently, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, was that Claude open sourced the actual harness for the agent behind Claude Code or behind Claude Cowork, basically the same architecture. So what you can do is you can run the same thing, but you can use local models now. So if you do have sensitive information that you want an agent to be able to manipulate on your file system, you could use a local model instead of using the cloud model. and you can run the whole thing locally. Which Frode obviously would be the expert on like local setups, but I thought that was really cool. And that I think, especially in the legal industry, with you wanting to probably do things with client files and stuff like that, it makes sense to take a look at the open source agent harness and also like open source models with that as well.
Maybe for the audience, we're talking a little bit more about technical stuff, but I kind of feel that's very relevant today because I see more and more lawyers either vibe coding or trying no-code automations. And there's a small step from vibe coding and no-code automations into actually using these frameworks, because you can still be vibe coding with using these frameworks. They're literally open source. You can pull them on your laptop. And then today you have like these managed deployment services, which basically means you don't have to be a systems engineer to deploy something. Literally you go on Vercel or something similar and you deploy your application with 2 clicks. So then a lawyer that is next to you can use the same thing, right? But yeah, maybe, yeah, a disclaimer. If anything that we might be talking about today sounds like a jargon, that might be a sign that you shouldn't be pulling a Moldbot to your laptop yourself.
Well, Rok, do you think it's more lawyers doing it, or you think it's still the same lawyers that were always the experimental ones? Like, it was always probably, you think there's a greater percentage? Because there's always probably like maybe 5% of lawyers that were really experimental and always messing around with technology, right? Like somebody like Stefan has been, messing around with AI for a long time. So you think there's a greater percentage, or is it still the same lawyers as before, the same percentage of lawyers as before, just using this different technology? Is it actually expanding across the industry, you think, or is it the same people? Well, I guess, Stefan, that'd be a good question for you too.
I was gonna say, I think more.
You're a lawyer. You should start with it depends.
It does depend. Well, I mean, there are like a lot of lawyers that are kind of opening, or I guess waking up and realizing that there's different technologies out here. I would say it's definitely grown like over the years. More lawyers are kind of experimenting, tinkering with stuff. I know that a lot of the industry, I guess, platforms that we use are offering AI solutions. So, a lot of them are kind of getting their feet wet and trying things out. As far as vibe coding, yeah, I mean, I don't know the numbers, but yeah, I would think there's a lot more now that are experimenting, kind of seeing what they can do.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's easier, so more will try, but it's also a problem because that means you're using online tools because that's the easiest. So then you come into what we've been discussing, security and privacy and what not to share and what not to upload. So it's both ways. It's good, the more experiment, but it's also more dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous.
A friend of mine wrote an article this week, and it's about, it's an interesting one. It's the first time that I've seen lawyers writing about open source and the connection with GDPR or the gap. The gap, right? Because imagine you want to use a vendor X. So you have a contract with vendor X. So the vendor X is responsible for security, for keeping your data private, for basically everything that you put in the contract. That is their responsibility. But then you have a lawyer that vibe codes something on their own laptop. They're using Moldbot, that thing, or they're not, or they're building their own integrations, right? With the Microsoft, with SharePoint, with the calendar, with task management system, right? So the agent can do things. But that means that you have your source code lives in your law firm. So your law firm, there is no second party in this contract. There is nobody that can take the liability. You are taking it fully. On top of that, instead of doing due diligence on that one tech vendor that you went to before, right? Now you have to do due diligence with every single platform, every single third party that your source code is integrating with. So that creates a lot of overhead on the legal, on the compliance department as well, on security teams. I know that in enterprises, literally you have lists of vendors, of libraries in coding that you can use, and all those are vetted. So that takes a long time to be vetting all these things.
It does.
Yeah, but it goes both ways, because let's say you sign up to online vendor X, I can guarantee you they have a lot of third-party applications in their system, which you will never know. So it's the same thing. You don't know where your data is going at the end anyway.
It depends on how mature
Yes.
they are.
Yeah, of course. But you saw now OpenAI had a breach that was a third-party vendor. It was not OpenAI. So
True.
Mhm.
So I see his point. Yes, it's a lot of paperwork to make sure everything is as it should doing offline, but you also have the same doing online. But online it's a black box because they will never tell you that third party.
Mhm.
It's a good point.
Well, in enterprise contracting, you try to get to the DPAs that the vendor you're trying to sign has with other third parties. But as you said, Frode, things can be hidden, things are not disclosed. So yes, it's still happening. I mean, it depends also in whether you want to be hiring your technical and security and compliance talent yourself. Then it makes sense to be developing these things yourself. But a couple of lawyers that I've been speaking with, and I'm interested in hearing your opinion, Stefan, were of an opinion that law firms traditionally are not the best environment for developing software.
Interesting question. Best environment. Let me think on it for a bit. Gather my thoughts on that.
A few points were like they were mentioning things as software is never kind of done. So the moment that you release more and more that you release it to more and more users, then first the obvious one, the bugs that need to be fixed. So those will inflate. The second thing is these users might have more requests. You might see some patterns in the usage data on how people are using it. So you might know what to double down on and further develop. And then there's another thing. I mean, like any kind of system is connecting with other systems, right? Mm-hmm. So if another system changes, you need to update your system. If a payload in an API changes, then you're going to have to update your system. Otherwise, it's not going to be working anymore. I mean, you do have some buffer until they deprecate the previous version, but they will at some point. So at that point, it will stop working. If you have nobody maintaining this.
Yeah.
You're
absolutely right. And that is the problem. You're right about the problem basically is, you sign up with a new software, you're kind of sold on it, you've got all these expectations, and then you introduce it to your firm, and then there's some training that your staff gets, and then you have to see if it's even being adopted or being utilized. And a lot of times with those transitions, there's a degree of backlash, or some people use it, some people don't. But more often than not, the products that are being, or the software that's being used, isn't being utilized to its potential. And there's a lot of like vendor swapping. They use it for a while and they sign up for a ton of seats, and then they're like, oh well, I thought it can do this, I thought it can do that. I don't know. So it's a ongoing process, but it has to be aligned with, the users have to be aligned with the software, and then their IT has to be aligned. Like, they've got to upgrade everything constantly, and it's got to be an iterative process of adjusting, and it's got to be organized. It's got to be process driven, and it has to be, they got to actually use it. And I think another problem is, from the initial setup, a lot of firms get kind of the cookie cutter version of the product, and it doesn't work for every firm because they're all different in the way that they work. Every lawyer is different. They some don't like using online, they use paper only. There's some that are a mixture, of hybrid of paper and documents. There's some that are strictly no documents. So it's difficult to just make something that works for everybody. I don't know.
Rok, have you seen this firm, Currie? This firm, Currie in the States? Have you seen the AI startup that they acquired, Springbok?
Yeah.
You've seen that? Because I have this theory about this, that if with the whole, like, you could call it, I guess, AI transformation or whatever, but like with any business, at some point, the technological and AI knowledge has to live inside the business at some point. You know what I mean? And so, like with the smaller, you may have a small firm where the lawyer is like super technical in terms of working with software and AI or whatever. So the knowledge of the law and the knowledge of AI lives in that one person's brain. But one way or another, both of those pieces of knowledge have to live in the same organization at the same time. So it might be like maybe work with a consultant or with a development agency or whatever. You bring that in-house, or you do like a big firm might go and acquire like a small AI startup and bring all their engineers in-house. But I think one way or another, you're gonna like you have to, if you want to make that the next step with AI with technology, you have to bring that knowledge in-house in some capacity. And I think also interesting, I talked to somebody from Meta the other day, and I think you'll see like a lot of innovative stuff coming out of those teams, right? Because Meta is like it's a software first company, and then the legal departments in somewhere like Meta, they're gonna have their own custom software that's being built for, you know what I mean? It's like they have all the technical knowledge there, and then that then makes it a lot easier to apply things to the legal departments or to the legal aspect of the business, you know?
Yeah, I see that. And I think you have very valid points. I think that the previous remark about law firms not being great software environments for software development, I think that goes with if you are thinking of software as a product that is going to market. Yeah, maybe. But then when you're using it for stuff internally, right, to either increase the capacity or, give you more time or squeeze more value out of what you're already doing, yeah, I think so. I think if you want to get to the next stage of how to do that the best possible way, you're going to have to acquire that type of talent. And it could come in many shapes and forms. Oh, did you guys see that warning? We're having trouble streaming to LinkedIn.
Oh no,
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and yeah, it's not even. So it's not. I think it's blank.
Let's see.
Oh, it said previous. It said it ended now. At least on my side, you can see it.
On my side, it's just loading.
Yeah, it's loading.
Mine said it says event ended on my side.
Previously live. Yeah, it says previously live. So I don't know.
Yeah, previously live. Oh,
why?
Come on. Wait, can I maybe lower the resolution? Give me a second, because we are at 720. Maybe we should go to 480p. No, not when it's.
Not when you're recording, right?
Yeah. Damn it.
Oh,
Okay.
we were live though. It says we were live.
No, it says previously live because it's just loading. If you go to LinkedIn and try to watch it, it's just loading.
It is loading.
Nothing happens.
God got us.
Name calling too much.
Yeah, he's like, you gotta shut these guys down. They're talking too much.
Not good for the market. Okay, yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, like in the end, like this is all being recorded, so we can again upload it to YouTube and whatnot. And the next time, I'll make sure to set it on the lower resolution.
You make sure to test it more than 10 minutes before.
Yeah, but how? Like you can't. I mean, you can't really test LinkedIn Live before you go. LinkedIn
You
Live.
can go live before, can't you?
Yeah, like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Or like you know what I mean? Like do like a miniature live for 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
Shut it down and start again.
Okay.
Yeah, we're learning. We're not that nerdy. Yeah. So yeah.
Things happen. I mean, the technology never worked. So there you go. AI. Think about that before you adopt AI.
Oh man,
it's fine. It's the first one. It's normal that something like this will happen.
This is just like the test run.
Yeah.
Get the bugs out.
If everything would be okay. Okay, but then we were talking about but like the discussion that we were in, Masai, you really went into what I wanted to say, what I wanted to discuss with you guys, because this is super interesting. Because you see law firms now partnering with vendors, right? To influence the development of the platform. So this is what is in it for them. But then on the other hand, vendors are getting their product improved in real world conditions. And if it fits one law firm's requirements, the bet is that it's going to fit others as well. And that's a good bet, I think. If somebody has a problem, then you can be pretty sure that others have pretty much the same problem as well. So then the second thing is you see a lot of legal engineers being hired now, and it's across the board. It's like small, medium, and medium-sized firms and big law. Like I recently did a podcast with a person that is in a 10-person firm in Australia. They have 2 legal engineers. Those are actually developers but they're lawyers. They're lawyers that can actually code. And so before Gen AI, they even built their own CRM system because they were not happy with anything that was out there. Like it had too many functionality, but it wasn't really properly working for them. You have this, and then you have also firms that are recognizing that they're not going to go through all the overhead of hiring internal talent, but they're hiring their partners, being consultants or implementation specialists or whatnot, but people that can actually come and do that thing for them, and they're collaborating with them long term. In order to constrain the knowledge, which is the differentiator, because like AI is not going to work if you're going to only think of it from the software engineering perspective, building workflows, right? It's a lot of it is like knowledge engineering, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was really interesting in where everything is going. And with that, that's a great segue into the new buzzword, which is here for a while, which is AI native or AI first law firms. What do you guys think about when you hear about AI native law firms?
I think the biggest thing is probably there's a guy, his name is Richard Susskind. I don't know if you heard of this guy. You know Richard Susskind? He talks about like the difference between automation and innovation. And I think the biggest difference with like an AI native law firm is one that's like innovative. So if you think about instead of thinking about like how do we automate the old way that we did this thing, if you think about instead like what actually has to happen here and what's the best way to do it. You know what I mean? Like if it's like coming up with new ways of doing things instead of just automating the old way that you were doing it before, you know?
Yeah, true. Yeah. So Richard Susskind he wrote a book, right? And then he also he went on a lot of podcasts. So I listened to his interpretation of that. And like I agree with you here. Like if you're not going to redesign a process, like there's this technology that was invented or whatnot, or it hit the market. And that technology, the previous processes were designed to be fully manual, right? Now you have this technology that can take parts of the decision making, and it can, basically that's the value proposition. It can do parts of the decision making, right? And now you're trying to integrate this technology with the previous process that was built for manual only. Like it's not going to work. You're not going to see the best value that you're not going to see the potential of the value that you could have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Apologies, we're all a bit frazzled by the technical issues that we're experiencing in our first inaugural session.
I think, I think some people might also be censoring themselves a little bit too.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? I mean, literally, we can just stop recording right now and then like go live again, like quickly create a new event and all of that stuff. But that's just literally like going to take 10 minutes at least. And we're losing the momentum. Might as well
let's
continue
just recording.
Upload it later.
Then you have a video for YouTube at least.
YouTube, Spotify. Frode, you need to create a proper YouTube account, and Stefan, you as well, so then we can collaborate. Because like what we were able to do with Masai is like collaborate on that video that he's in as well. And then like it shows it also on his.
Oh,
on both channels.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do on YouTube.
I mean, I guess I could. I've tinkered with the idea for a bit. I just gotta let's try it and do it. That's all. Just gotta do it. Yeah.
Frode, you're go ahead.
How's it been going? How's YouTube been going?
YouTube, how's it going? I'm not sure. Like really? Because what I try to convey to my clients is first, before you go into anything, right? Before you try anything with technology, you gotta define what is the definition of good, right? I haven't done that when it comes to YouTube. So that's why I don't know how to answer this question.
Yeah, fair. It seems like the channel's growing though, no?
Yeah, the channel is growing. I'm not sure. Is it because the videos are growing? But yeah, like it's a way to, I mean, like, look, on LinkedIn, I can write every day, but LinkedIn has a pretty severe limitation of characters per post. So it's a short form. You can't really explain your train of thought or like go deeper into things. And also, like, the users are using it. I mean, like, people are scrolling quickly through it. So then basically, if you're going to write something a little bit longer, then usually, people won't pay attention. YouTube is different. I read somewhere that YouTube has this year 60 billion revenue. Google for the first time released the numbers this year for 2025. And then it's apparently up there with the, knowledge sharing platforms. So literally people go there to inform themselves.
Search engine.
Yeah.
So I think from that perspective, it's nice.
Search engine, yeah.
I do that. If I want to learn about something and I'm like, or sometimes I'll tell Perplexity or whatever, find a YouTube video about this so I can see how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
I did that for how to do a LinkedIn Live.
Really?
It's funny.
You need a new YouTube video then, or something else.
Yeah, but it was a 1-year-old video. That's also the problem with YouTube, that the videos that have the highest hits, they're not the most recent. So you gotta filter and all of that stuff, and then maybe you find nothing relevant. But yeah,
take some time. Yeah,
that's a good thing though, because for the creator it's good, right? Because obviously your video keeps getting views over time.
Yeah.
It sucks if you want to find something. I was searching for some software yesterday, and only 5 to 6 year old videos. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, the guardrails.
Steven will fix it. No worries.
Well, well, it's interesting that you say. It's interesting that you say that. You search and then you find that there's nothing. Then there might be an opportunity there. If it's no new videos, then that might be your opportunity to make a new video.
Yeah. I'm not making a video, but I'm making the software since it's missing what I need. So we go custom.
Yeah. And recently, it's been more and more about legal stuff, legal AI, legal technology, and all that. There's been more analysis as well on the space and on the market. I'm hoping that one day Raymond Blythe is going to start putting videos on YouTube, because I love his analysis, and I would like to, when you explain them, then you are able to say so much more than in short articles.
It's true. I think he started putting some stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
saw
I
a couple of his podcasts.
I think he does have.
I think he posts on YouTube. I think he has some videos on YouTube. I think.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know what I'm gonna do today in the evening.
Yeah, he has some really good breakdowns. He knows what he's talking about. So
he's the analyst. Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Claude plugin in the legal tech market? You guys saw this?
Ooh. Yeah. I really want to hear your thoughts about this.
Yeah, I'm interested, because what was it? The Claude legal plugin comes out and the legal tech market loses $40 billion in a 24 hours, something like that.
Yeah, it was 15% dip. Yeah. But did it recover a little bit? Because usually that's literally after the announcements, the first crazy reactions go out, and then everybody gets scared, but then people get a bit more reasonable, right?
Yeah, I don't know. And then
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, we haven't seen any tests. We haven't seen people actually using it. So what is it? What does it mean by legal? Will it compete with Harvey or other Legora or any of them? If not, it's just a fancy word to try and get new users.
Marketing. Marketing.
Yeah. Marketing.
I think he's right. I think it's literally just skills, markdown files packaged, and that's it. I'm pretty sure that's all it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I think it's a move in a direction, right? It's not something that's going to, displace all this. It might displace quite a few specialized legal AI vendors, because not all of them have been, solving a very specific problem, or not all of them are really, really good.
Generally, all of them are most document handling, done by a LLM or a tiny rank system, and that's it. There is nothing fancy.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's trying to do. No, it's trying to analyze and summarize NDAs currently. There are a couple of things that it's trying to do. It's not trying to do everything. And again, it's built on top of Cowork, which is built on MCP architecture, which again, prompt injections are not solved. They're not going to be. There's a lot of security issues. Then there's privacy issues, which are a different thing. We need to I mean, like literally these architectures are punching the holes through what we discussed before. Like they're punching the holes through all the standards that the security specialists have been trying to establish over the past few decades. And so that doesn't mean that nobody should use this and this is not the way forward. It's just that it's young. So let's wait for a few months. Let's wait until somebody actually solves this, until new standards come. And then we're going to be able to use this. But currently, if you're like in a regulated industry, I mean, if you're a salesman and you're sending 10,000 emails a day, then it doesn't really matter. Use any kind of AI tool that you can get your hands on. But if you're in a regulated industry and you're professionally handling sensitive information, you might want to think twice.
I think the biggest discussion in legal right now is who owns the data. We have seen this latest lawsuit now. So it's getting interesting. The big ones are locking down open source and free data behind paywalls. I think that's the biggest discussion in legal right now, not what kind of things you have, because if you can't get to the data, what are you going to do?
Which lawsuit is that? The Clio lawsuit, you mean?
Yeah.
Clio, Alexis, and then there was Ross.
Yeah, but did you see that Clio is suing this this other company? You saw this?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
What's the name of the company? It's like
I don't remember the name.
Alexis.
No, Alexis. Oh, Alexis. Yeah, Alexis.
Yeah.
Alexis. They had some agreement with like VLEX or with the company that Clio acquired to get data. That's the whole question, right? Because there's like, well, everybody kind of knows the technology is not really a moat anymore because we all have the same LLMs that we can use. Everyone uses the same LLMs. Clio Work is going to use the same LLMs that everybody else has, so it's not going to be like a better AI. And so data is the main thing of how you can actually check yourself. But you know what I think is interesting? A company that I really like. Have you guys tried Gamma, the product?
GAMMA?
Yeah, Gamma.
Like presentations.
Which one? Say that again? No, it's the one that it makes presentations, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Gamma Docs. Yeah, I tried it.
Yeah, you tried. Yeah, so it's like I like that one a lot. It's obviously it's a wrapper, obviously, and it has the same LLMs underneath. But like the use case is really cool, right? You go in, you put your notes in, it creates a presentation for you. So I'm like, that's a really cool use case, and it's not like some super advanced technology that no one else can make. But it sort of has me thinking, well, how do you go into legal and figure out like what are those use cases like Gamma, where it's like it does a very specific thing. It is a wrapper, but like the way you've built it is so that it works really well. It solves the problem really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just templates. You have predefined templates that it strictly follows every time, and then and it generates images. So you have some kind of image LLM that can read your text and then propose an image.
Yeah.
It's all templates.
Imagine like Gamma for like I don't know, for like some like property disagreement or whatever, right? It's like you go in, you put the meeting notes for that thing, you press a button, and then boom, all the documents are prepared. You know what I mean? Like something like that. I feel like that's like a cool, simple app idea that's useful, valuable. It's not trying to be like to replace all lawyers, the super app or whatever it is. It just does that one thing really well, Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like wrappers by default are not something that should be disregarded. I mean, literally, there's two parts of an AI system, right? If you think from the value perspective, one of it is like this AI that generates whatever you want it to generate. Could be text, could be images, could be diagrams, whatnot, right? Video. But then the other is not just the data that is inside the system, but it's also like, at which point does the AI get access to which part of the data? So basically context engineering, right?
Yeah.
And so this is what we're seeing now differentiating vendors from one another in how they're able to pass the information. And there's a soft spot, right? You can't give it too much, you can't give it too little. So there's a soft spot that there's a balance that you need to find in in sending the AI the information that you need to complete that specific task. But you gotta be solving a specific problem. And that specific problem usually comes from a big pain point. Like look at Perplexity. It's a wrapper. It's using OpenAI's models. It's a wrapper. Everybody's laughing at wrappers. Perplexity is a wrapper. Everybody uses Perplexity because it has solved that problem, that pain that we all had with Google search.
Yeah, I agree. And Perplexity obviously is worth billions of dollars, right? So they did okay. And I think it's kind of smarter, right? Because they're not burning this money like OpenAI and Claude and all these other LLM providers, because it's a wrapper that sits on top of them. So that's
true. But there's also a dependency. There's also a huge dependency, because if OpenAI models go down, or probably they have some fallback on Claude or whatnot, right? If those go down, and if those increase the price significantly all of a sudden overnight, I mean, like your business model is kind of dead. So what I'm also seeing with legal vendors is, there was one that I interviewed, had a redaction application. It was specifically redaction for M&A processes, like those huge processes where like firms are hiring other firms that manually come and redact stuff, right? And apparently the problem is there. One of the problems there is like these people manually that are going through things never go through everything. Plus, there is nobody that can say there are no errors there, right? So this is such a narrow scope of a task that you can apply. This is a greatly scoped, really problem scoped in a very good way. And then you can apply a solution to this problem. And of course, in the beginning, when they were developing the concept, they went with like the big, powerful models. But then the longer you're sitting in the development, the longer you're sitting in trying to solve that problem, the more you're breaking it down. And what inevitably happens when you start breaking down the problem is that the power that you need from AI to solve that specific step becomes lower and lower. So you could do very well with open source models. And in the end, in their R&D, they came up with something that was quite interesting, that basically them developing their own models based on reinforcement learning for that specific thing. Those models would generalize much better on the corpus of the tasks or the documents that they were getting than fine-tuned open source models, or even bigger models, even if they fine-tune them. Because when you're fine-tuning a model, that's like the third stage of training, it still doesn't unlearn the whole internet that it learned before you started fine-tuning it, right?
It's almost like the better your app is, the less work AI has. Although the less AI you need, basically, the better your app is, basically. And if you have a really narrow problem too, if your problem is really like narrow use case. I don't know. What do you guys think about these companies that are like trying to be the general AI for a legal tool? Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's such a I feel like that's such a hard value proposition.
And they do everything.
That's a hard sell, man.
Yeah,
it's a hard sell.
Like you're solving every problem. So basically, like marketers are gonna tell you you're solving no problem.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, but what? So Masai, I saw your post about. It was, I think, a couple of weeks ago. It was about like that people that are building AI agents.
No.
Did you really?
No, you're good.
We lost you for a second.
Am I good? Okay. So I really like that post, Masai, from you. That was about people that are building agents. Maybe they're not seeing so much value in it because they're trying to get the agents to do too many things.
Yeah.
And like you can draw parallels to what you ask now about the
completely. The other thing I think is interesting is I think all the big like frontier models, OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, I think they're all going to be looking to take some of that money from the legal market. I think they're all going to try to build like legal purpose. I mean, Claude already did it, Anthropic already did it, obviously, right? But I think they're going to attack that market and trying to take some of the revenue from that like general legal market. But if you have a really specific tool for like that just does redaction for M&A and it's the best one, I mean that market's almost too small for OpenAI or too small for Anthropic to really go after, to really compete with you in that market, because they can't really. OpenAI burns what, $100 million a day or something, you know what I mean? So if if that market is like a $500 million market, it's not even a big enough market for it to be worth anything for OpenAI to go after. So I think those little like niche markets, those little niche solutions, are really interesting to go for because less competition. Then also I think there are some solutions where like 5 or 10 years ago would have been really expensive to develop them. On like 100K, 200K to develop the solution. I think now a lot of those things are going to be a lot cheaper to develop with agentic coding and all that kind of stuff, right? And so you can go after these smaller markets, but there's less money in it, but there's also less competition, and you can build a product for those things much more quickly, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Actually, this goes very well with what I've been speaking with a legal tech investor, and one thing that he said is like that he's even more reaffirmed over the past year that the future is in niche solutions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like micro SaaS basically, right? Like these apps that do like maybe like mid 7 figures a year with a really small team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These like micro SaaSes basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think that you should go with B2B, because B2C, I mean, there's only like, if you're super niche down, like then, you know, acquiring clients per client is very expensive. So you might as well
Yeah.
go for a client that immediately gets you, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 seats
Yeah.
instead of just one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, B2C is hard. I think B2C, I think literally with B2C SaaS, like you're better off being someone like Mr. Beast or something like that that has this huge audience that you can, you know what I mean? If you already have that crazy distribution, then maybe
Yeah.
B2C makes sense. But if you don't have insane distribution, B2C is kind of hard to validate, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't think B2C is a market anyway, regardless
Yeah.
of distribution.
Yeah.
You see people jumping back and forth as soon as OpenAI is 20. If somebody comes with the same
15.
LLM for 15, people will jump
Yeah,
to the 15.
yeah, it's true.
Then comes one the same for 10, people will jump to the 10.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, that's interesting. Didn't OpenAI now come up with another subscription for $6 or something?
Go.
Plus ads.
ChatGPT Go. Yeah. Have you seen the ads from that? Have you seen the
No, because I
Anthropic,
have a paid version.
That's the play, man. Marketing, get that sponsorships and advertising, man.
What's scary for me here is that basically, so Sam Altman is on record in multiple interviews saying that that would be the last resort for OpenAI. If they're not able to be profitable any other way, then this is ads. So basically, we're at the we're living in a world where OpenAI went for their last solution,
resort,
right?
Yeah.
And then you have Andreessen Horowitz and Sequoia Capital coming out a couple of weeks ago saying that if OpenAI tanks, they're going to tank as well, because so much of their money is tied into investing into startups that are powered by OpenAI, right?
Yeah.
So here is where you see, and I wonder, how is it with legal AI vendors as well in this space? Are they shaking a little bit now that OpenAI is basically burning through all its ideas how to become profitable?
It's not looking too good. I don't think. I don't know. I don't want to be cynical or skeptical, but it's kind of the writings on the wall.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the ads from Anthropic, the Super Bowl ads?
Yeah.
You've seen them? Oh man, when we get off this call, you have to look these things out. They're hilarious. It's like they're just making fun of ads on ChatGPT and a bunch. They made like I don't know how many different versions of this video they made, but it's like imagine it's like some lady's trying to plan her funeral with ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT's like, yeah, sure, I can help you, and then they advertise some service of the best like funeral planning service or whatever it is. It's crazy, and they made like 20 variations of this. You have to look it up. And
oh, this is crazy! Like Anthropic is pretty spicy. Like you remember when OpenAI had the big drama with Sam Altman being fired as a CEO and all of that stuff. The few-day drama that was going on.
Yeah.
At that point, Anthropic threw out an advertisement with like their logo, and then literally just saying like, "We're the one without the drama."
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah,
constantly taking
they're
the piss on OpenAI. Yeah.
their marketing team's crazy, dude. It's hilarious. You have to see these. You have to see, and it's gonna. I think they're gonna come on tomorrow on the Super Bowl during the Super Bowl. I think.
Oh yeah, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
tomorrow is the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So no sleep today for me. That's happening in the night.
You know, there's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that's kind of been on my mind lately about AI and these AI companies, and what's been kind of like keeping me up at night is this shift from AI companies first starting out as like creating first draft of work to now they're shifting to like the final draft, the final version.
And then
I think
also
that's what-
sending it to
I
your
don't know, that's
client
been
instead of you.
bothering me a little bit.
Yeah. Why does it
Yeah,
bother you?
and that's the scariest. Well, I guess for me, it's like we have to look at everything. Like we can't, even if like AI might be the best, like we still have to put our eyes on it. Like but I think that's where
based on regulation,
tech
right,
companies-
Stefan?
Yeah. I mean, we got to take we can't take our eye off of things, but I do see this shift from draft to final, and you know, it doesn't work, man. Like it just even though I mean, like, yeah, it's I don't know. I think that's the play. You know, they're trying to get the final version, final draft.
You know
But
what?
look-
I was
don't-
talking to a client.
Scratch.
Yeah. I was talking to a client of mine, and they put it really well. They said that most of the AI tools they've tried, they get you like 97, 98% of the way there, right? But he says he explains it like Formula One, you know? He's like the difference between the first place and like 100th place is a couple fractions of a second every lap, right? It's a small gap. But that gap is worth $100 million, right? Because you know what I mean? That's the amount of money difference between those
Yeah.
two. So that's kind of how it is, I think,
Yeah.
in legal as well, right? It's like AI can
Yeah.
get 97%, 98% of the way there, but the last two is the most important sometimes.
Sometimes
it's interesting because-
I was gonna say the devil's in the detail, and there's some things that, like, I mean, from a very basic level, yeah, it can generate text and it can make it look really good, but there's certain things that like it would never be able to do, like and these are things that are just kind of like I guess to give an example, let's say you're in a jurisdiction and you don't like how you interact with other counsel, how you interact with the judge. Like there's just certain, relationships that you have, and there's just certain knowledge, like how to move and how to act, and certain knowledge that lawyers have, relationships that, you can never replace. You can never, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like there's a whole different world outside of just the admit.
Yeah.
Like
the biggest problem is that the LLM never reads everything. So
it does.
whatever it summarizes,
It looks good.
Yeah, of course. It gaslights you to make it sound very good. Also in writing, it's solid.
Yeah.
But it skipped fundamentals because it never reads all the documents you send it. So, as Masai say, the 100% it will never be. It will skip, and maybe 95% there. The rest is manual.
I can see myself playing the devil advocate on both spectrums here. So one, let's say that AI is 97, or like let's say that it's 90% accurate, right? Or that it makes only 10% of 5% mistakes. If you're at scale, that means that you're basically screwing 5%, 10% of cases, or that you're leaking 5-10% of information, or some negative outcome. 5-10% at scale might be a problem, or it might not be. It might not be because maybe before AI you weren't able to capture all those opportunities, and you were leaving 70, 60, 50% of the opportunities on the table, while now you're capturing them, but your AI is making 5-10% of the mistake, right? So that's one thing. And the second, I could also play the devil's advocate in how many mistakes did humans do before?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because one thing that didn't change with AI is the accountability. It still is within the human,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. Okay, I just opened a lot of things and I gave no conclusion, but this is what those sessions are for.
Well, I'll tell you the irony is this. You know, a lot of the mistakes that the AI is using is because it was trained on imperfect humans, like humans that make mistakes, right? So it's kind of a perpetual loop of you train it on information.
You know what's interesting
go
with this
ahead,
though? Have you heard about AlphaZero from Google DeepMind? You've heard of this or no?
Yeah.
A little bit.
AlphaZero. You had like like I think it was 1996 when with Deep Blue played against Kasparov in chess, right? And it beat Kasparov.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the chess. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
After that, you had the one called AlphaGo that beat like the game Go, the board game Go, like super complicated game. You had this thing called AlphaGo that beat the Go champion in Go, which was a big deal. But then Google did this thing called AlphaZero, where they trained the model on how to play games, but without human input. So it didn't watch any human games. It just played the game against itself a bunch of times, right? And that's how it learned from a sandbox. So that's the interesting thing, right? Because what they did there is they didn't do any human input. Everything that the agent learned was by itself. Because they realized that if you teach an agent how to play a game based on human inputs, it hits a cap of how far it can go, right? But if you just let it, yeah, exactly, because it's based off of humans, obviously. But if you just let it just go without any human input, it can exceed that cap and it can go beyond that cap, which is kind of interesting to think about. Well, what does that look like in like an actual, like from economic perspective in a legal industry, for example? Is do you just like put a bunch of AIs in a simulation and let them come up with laws and you know what I mean, and just let them do it all from scratch? You know what I'm saying? If we're saying that this is like a hypothetical, obviously, but
Yeah.
If a lot of the problem is that it's trained on a human, because we saw it before with AlphaZero, it's like the problem with why these models couldn't get better at these games and board games, whatever it was, is because they were learning from humans how to play the game. But once they just learned from themselves how to play the game, they were able to go much further. So the question is like, what does that actually look like, and what does that mean for the legal industry, but I guess for society at large as well? It's like, do we just let these LLMs not learn from us and just learn how to, like, do they figure out a better way to write contracts? Do they figure out a better way to do these things instead of having human input in it? You know?
That's interesting, but we don't have no influence on that because those are all privately owned companies that are training those models, and then the techniques that they're using to train them and the data. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody from Asia. They're saying there's a huge problem for people that are outside of US and Europe with the LLMs because, and same a lawyer from India, like the LLM would propose for you to, I don't know, give you hypothetical options of borrowing money from your parents. Apparently, that is something that really doesn't fly in some other cultures. So like this bias of Western data, and apparently they do really well if you're a white male, but if you're anything else, your data is basically, grossly misrepresented in the training data. So that also, those are all the problems. And like, yeah, I see where you're going with this, Masai, but I see this then as like, maybe we should figure out on the governmental level, how can we mitigate this a little bit more? How can the society have a little bit more saying in those things? Yeah. Although I'm just talking about illusions because society had no input in social media, and look at where this took us.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty dark way to end the session. This is what you get, guys. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching the first 20 minutes of this before we had technical issues. This is going to be uploaded to YouTube, Spotify, whatnot. I'm just going to hit end stream. And then, guys, stay in the call.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today. If your firm is experimenting with AI tools that can access documents or systems, don't treat this as a product decision. Treat it as a security decision. If you found this useful, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.